if you're on the just side, you can still fight back and you can harm their credibility. So I think in the future we should have more courage to fight back if we have chances. Hi everyone, I'm Navina Haydn from Germany. I've been active on Twitter for a long time, and you may have noticed that recently I've been defamed by a German newspaper called Die Welt am Sonntag.
In the last interview, you said you disclosed the process of your lawsuit to everyone on the internet. So how is your lawsuit progressing? Are there any final results?
Basically, for now, I won this lawsuit. So the court in Frankfurt demanded this journalist to revise the article, and they received a prohibition from ever writing certain slandering about me again. And I would actually receive some compensation as well. The thing is just, Axel Springer was planning to reject all the decision of the court, so it's not final yet. It will still take some time until the lawsuit will be finished. But I was discussing this with my lawyer team, and they actually believe that the chances for the newspaper to change the decision of the court is very low. So unless they're not bringing any new argument and some very convincing arguments, I'm actually very convinced that they will not success. So I'm not worried about it at all.
I think this is a good news for you. Maybe you can focus more on your study, or I believe it will not affect your future development, right?
I was actually worried about that a lot when I first saw the article.
Yeah.
But I was discussing this with other internet influencers who experienced a similar situation like me. And all of them told me that actually it's not as hard as you may think. It will not affect your job search, and people on the internet will not come to your house and do anything on you. So you can just be relaxed.
Yeah.
And now I'm also more relaxed because I have a lot of media who are counterattacking this article. So I'm not worried.
So I'm just wondering that if a media group or journalist is found to have published false or slanderous information to the public in Germany, so what will be the consequences for them? Will their credibility be affected in the future?
There are many different consequences depending on what way you choose. You can either go take a lawsuit. If you win this lawsuit, then as I just said, they will have to revise the article. They may receive a prohibition, and in the best case, you may receive some compensation. You may as well go to in Germany we call it Presserat, German Press Council. Their job is to monitor all the newspaper agencies and make sure they are following the press code. So if you file a complaint to them and they're identifying misconduct of some journalists, then they can actually sanction them with a fine, or in some very bad cases, they may restrict them from doing more publications. I actually also did that, but I'm still waiting for a response. So right now, all I can do is wait. And there's another option. You can go to your local police station and file a report. However, this is usually for very strong cases of defamation, and if you really take visible harm from this article. But this is something I didn't do yet.
There's the saying that birds of a feather flock together. And I believe that. I think you must have a lot of friends, they are quite integrity. Is there anyone around you who has been slandered by biased online media or journalists, like your experience?
I know a lot of people who have been slandered like this. Probably the most recent example, you probably also heard about it, is the Slovakian girl Pop Mata. She was recently defamed by a Slovakian newspaper and also calling her a propagandist, basically the same accusations that I received.
I'm just an ordinary person in my country. But a writer used his position as a journalist to attack a Slovak student. What is even more unfortunate, my family and my friends have been affected and harassed too. So I keep asking myself, what I did wrong?
There are actually too many people. I don't think I can count them all right now.
Okay, so do you have any advice that you can share with others who are suffering from cyberbullying as well?
Let's talk about some slandering newspaper. If there's a newspaper want to slander you, usually they will invite you for an interview first. Whether you accept this interview or not will not change the tone of the article. If you reject it, then they will just say, oh, we tried to contact them, but they didn't respond. So uncooperative, something like this.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, if you receive an invitation by mainstream media and you know that they will slander you, I suggest you to accept this interview. Because in this way, you can actually save all the evidence which you later need if you want to go to a lawsuit with them. So if this article is published and as you think it's slandering, you will have to decide very quickly if you want to go to a lawsuit or not. Because if you really want to do a lawsuit, then you really have to pay attention to timing and the formalities. So if you decide to go to a lawsuit, then there are three things you should pay attention to. First of all, secure all the evidence. If you accept this interview, always make a recording of your interview and tell them beforehand. don't agree on anything orally. Always make sure you have a written consent about them. And also get witnesses so they can do a testimony in case it will go to a lawsuit. Second, get professionals. As I just said, when you want to do a lawsuit, the timing and the formalities of all the procedures have to be very careful. Actually, for my case, I could have written a counter statement to Die Welt am Sonntag, where I could clarify all the slandering, and they would have to publish it. The problem with this was it has to be written within 2 weeks, and it has to be very formal and very professionally written. If the format is not correct, then they can reject it. And that's what they did. So because I didn't find any lawyer within the first few weeks, I had to write this counter statement myself. And of course, it was rejected. So that's actually a very good opportunity that I missed. And then there's the last part. You should pay attention to your funds. So far for this lawyer case, I paid around 7,000 euro. So if you want to go to a lawsuit, you really have to expect to pay a lot of money, and it will take a lot of time and efforts. I was lucky enough that I go to the public and I can go to alternative media. So I'm fortunate enough that I got so much support to finance it. I'm just a student. I could never afford such high fees. And those are all my suggestions I want to give you.
Yeah, thank you. And how did you think taking legal actions to protect yourself? Why do you have the courage to fight against some biased organizations?
I think I have to take actions towards them because they are the ones who are harming my civil rights first. And according to our law and constitution, I should demand just from them. I'm not afraid to do any actions against them because I know I'm on the just side. I didn't do anything wrong. So no matter how big they are, I'm not afraid of them anyway, and I have a lot of support.
Aren't you afraid that your safety will be threatened? I don't think people of your age can be as brave as you.
Actually, at the beginning, when I received all those hate comments and threats, I was very much scared. Later, I learned that internet and actual life are two different things. On the internet, everybody can say a lot of words, everybody can threaten me, but those people behind the screen in their real life are usually some cowards or losers. So I don't have to pay attention to something like trolls or cyberbullying at all. So no, I'm not scared of threats.
Okay, so you still have to protect yourself, even though you win the lawsuit. China is often denounced by various media on the internet, and the Chinese netizens behave differently in the face of these harsh words. So do you think we should seek their weakness and fight back against them, or should we just take it easy and keep doing our own business?
It depends, really. First of all, you really have to think about what will the cost be if you defend yourself and what will be your benefits. For example, let's say a newspaper is slandering again. If you want to go to a lawsuit with them, it will cost a lot of time and efforts and cost a lot of money. And you will also have to think about what you will want to reach by doing this. Are you just trying to mitigate the harm you receive? If that is your goal, then I have to tell you, you will not be able to fully mitigate your harm. In my case, the newspaper was demanded to revise the article, but the article is still very slandering, and they still accuse me of being a propagandist. Your harm will not be 100% mitigated. But if you do a lawsuit, it will bring a lot of public awareness. It will cause some public dialogue. And also, if you win this lawsuit, if your lawsuit is successful, it will undermine the entire credibility of the article. And also, the journalist will face some consequences from it, because then in the future, people will know they lied once, and then they will not trust them anymore.
So will you continue to speak up for justice in the future? For example, continue to disclose rumors that defame China?
Yes, I will further be active on Twitter and all the social media platforms, and I will continue to say what I think is right. But my activities, they're not only limited to China. I will also talk about a lot of different topics, like, for example, Germany, my home country. So maybe in the future you will see me doing a lot of different videos, but I'm pretty sure I will still stick to politics, and China will still be one of my main focus. So I'm looking forward.
Do you have more words want to speak to our audience?
If you're being harmed by media, then you should try to fight back sometimes. I feel like a lot of people, they think they're not fighting back because they feel it's useless anyway, they will lose. But I think my example clearly shows that you actually sometimes do have a chance to win against them. And even if it's just such a big country like Axel Springer Verlag, if you're on the just side, you can still fight back and you can harm their credibility. So I think in the future we should have more courage to fight back if we have chances.